Alright, back by popular demand, whichever demand that is, I will attempt to have my Saturdays work on the Scout as best I can going forward because work is starting to get insanely busy. And so my days are turning into 10 plus hour days, plus an hour drive home. So motivation to come out here after a work day is at an all-time low. However, I'll rattle can something real quick and let it sit overnight. That part's not bad. So, progress on the old Scout here. We took off the tunnel cover because all of the bolts were loose, so I suspected some tomfoolery was underneath it, and it doesn't look terrible. It just looks like a greasy transmission covered in rat poo. That part's not terrible. We have officially finished the heater box and the defrost vents. So the thing that kicked off this whole insane project is officially done. So there's that. So now both defroster vents are good and the tube is routed, and that is not a fun task to do. I have also taken the plunge and purchased replacement flooring for this thing. Now I am not a metal fabricator by any means. I am a machinist by trade, so we're gonna see how this goes. The passenger side looks a lot easier than the driver because the driver has this seat bracket thing. And structurally, from my hand back in this area, it looks good. It just looks like it needs a really good wire wheeling and sealing. However, up here is pretty thin, and up against the front toe kick, I guess, whatever you call it, that's pretty shot. And then the actual cab mount is gone, and then the actual corner, if you can see, the corner is actually dipped, so the whole front here is sagging like this. So I did buy body mount bushings, so that's going to be an adventure getting that thing out. And hopefully we can piece together a suitable floor. Now you could just throw a license plate on this and call it a day, but I don't think a license plate's gonna fix that. So we're gonna have to take a dive into some of this and try to fix it. At least mend it a heck of a lot better than it currently is, because I don't feel comfortable driving it like that. So now, if you can believe it, and I know this is sacrilege, Ford Bronco floor replacements. It's like 180 bucks for both pans. What's a Scout? Just for the floor, it's like $380. Riddle me that, Batman. So we spent a good chunk of money on the $300 ones. I was tempted to buy the Bronco ones, but it just seemed like, even though it's cheaper, it just seemed more work in the long run. But if I had more time, darn it, I would probably have gotten those Ford Bronco ones, because they look pretty nice. These ones I bought, it just looks like a plasma cut thing of metal with hastily welded brackets on it. And if I had more time, I would have just made this stinking thing at work with a water jet. But I don't have that, so with all this lovely overtime I'm getting, I'm gonna just bite the bullet and get it. So our steering wheel is now officially together. Here's the new horn button, the current, or the mount anyway, the button is drying. All the seats and everything are back there. I had to smoke the bolts on the bracket of the passenger seat to get them out, but none of them stripped. However, I'm going to have to chase all those bolts for that cover after I pressure wash the living crap out of that transmission. And then while I'm in the transmission, you might as well change the oil in the transmission, because who the heck knows when that was done last. That part seems to be okay. So we got the horn button contact. I did have this fuel cap for the Scout, however this rubber flange is too thick and I didn't really want to deal with it. So we're going to try Parts Geek at a whopping $12, and we're going to see what that brings us. We're going to find out anyway. I ended up buying a Amazon refurbished PC and then my old monitor, so now I can have a computer here, which is good for watching YouTube and watching movies and whatnot, and also looking up tutorials on things you don't know. So there's that. I'm currently waiting for a fuel tank door seal from Scouter 1. So here is the door. Granted, it sure as heck did not look like this before I started. So this side is going to be against the fuel tank. This side will be against the tire side. So this is Rust-Oleum's rubberized undercoating. And I think what saved this thing to begin with, this whole truck in fact, is that somebody undercoated it back in the day. Because the underside is not bad at all. And you would think that rubber would actually kind of hide it, but it actually did a pretty good job. So here's the undercoating I'm using here. Amazon had a pretty good deal on them, so I just bought 3 of them because I figured once you start in on this, then you're going to want to keep going. So we had to helicoil every single bolt that holds that panel on, and I'm probably going to have to wallow out the ones on the bottom, because when I welded that plate in, I think I needed to shift it this way, like 1/8 to 1/4 inch more. So that's not a big deal. And we finally have the correct fuel neck for our gas tank. And I noticed that when I installed it, it has this vent on there, and I actually pinched it up there, so I had to go in here and push up that fuel vent, because I know there's a lot of complaints online of these not filling properly, and I wonder if that's why. So we're gonna find that out, and pay no attention to the really big screws there almost digging into it. But we got the flange nice and pretty looking, so it actually officially has a tank you can put gas in it. I've not put gas in it yet because one, I'm scared to, because I don't know when the next time it's gonna run, so I don't want it just sitting in there stewing. And 2, I don't have a fuel cap. And then A, B, C, D, E, F, G, if it does run good, then I'm going to want the other side fuel tank, because that's another 13 gallons. And 13 gallons isn't very much. However, when I did fix the float on the carburetor, it did idle really well and basically sipped the gas pretty rarely. So amazing, when the fuel pump isn't puking fuel into the oil, it actually gets decent mileage, so to speak anyway. We still need to tackle the rear axle bearings, or the wheel bearings. I could not get the drums off when I tried, so we might have to give that another go. The drive shaft will need some tending to. Other than that, that is all we have been doing so far, and it doesn't seem like a lot, but it's a lot of work and a lot of sitting. So hopefully we can get this thing on the road here. And interior wise, I'm gonna have the seats reupholstered, maybe in like a canvasy type material. Nothing fancy. This thing is not fancy at all. I don't care about the dings in the body. I don't care about the rust on the outside of the body. I care about, important rust. But, that stuff, I don't care. This thing is a beater. It's meant to go up in the woods, load the back up with wood, and come back. Or go to a car show and have fun. I'm not sinking the amount of money it's going to take to get this thing like flawless. Utility vehicle. The more I look at it, the more work I see, and then I don't work on it. So we're gonna contribute at least part of our Saturdays to slowly eating the elephant here and get it back on the road. Now, granted, for the road, it's going to have actual tires, and this thing still has left-handed nuts or studs, so we might have to change that. Anyway, that is currently the update on the old Scout here. Waiting on some parts, and hopefully everything will come together and I won't have to fight anything, but you know how it goes. So thank you all so much for watching, and thank you all for over 660 subscribers. My goodness, people like me rambling. I doubt it, but interesting things. And there's the horn button that I'm painting. It'll clean up. We're having to spray paint and use a little brush it in there, and then we're gonna have to buff that, but that won't be a big deal. Anyway, thank you all, and we shall see you next time on Scout Saturdays.